yet it does sound a bit like you are explaining it, because why can't Ukraine join NATO? They're an independent, sovereign country. Why can't they join NATO?
What would happen if Mexico decided to join a Chinese-run international military alliance with sending heavy weapons to Mexico aimed at the United States, interoperability of Chinese and Mexican military systems? What would happen to Mexico? It'd be blown away. You know that.
So you're then drawing comparisons between NATO and China and Russia. You see an equivalence between...
No, I don't. NATO is a much more aggressive alliance. NATO has invaded Yugoslavia, invaded Libya, invaded Ukraine, backed up the invasion of Ukraine, backed up the invasion of Afghanistan. It's an aggressive military alliance. Everybody outside the West, in the West, we're not allowed to think it because we're deeply controlled by adherence to the party line. But everybody else can see this.
So what do you think the purpose is then? You think that Ukraine, if Ukraine were to join NATO, that this would form the basis of NATO invading Russia?
Well, if China put military bases in Mexico, it wouldn't be a sign for China invading the United States. But the United States can't tolerate it for 30 seconds. You know that very well.
So it sounds to me like you are justifying the Russian invasion of Ukraine. You're saying the very act of wanting to enter NATO is grounds for Russia feeling sufficiently threatened to then invade Ukraine.
The Western party line, which Western intellectuals are instructed to adhere to rigorously, says that if you tell the facts, that's justifying Russia. No, it's not justifying Russia. There's not even a hint of that, not even a remote hint. It's saying, here are the facts that we should face. That's the facts. If you get out of the little Western propaganda bubble, move to the global South, everybody says this. When the United States...
Let me put something to you. We've seen it certainly in British politics, the anti-West left, as I would describe them in the UK, where a position of being anti-British imperialism, anti-American imperialism, being so anti-West essentially, led you to an alliance with Vladimir Putin. It was a new type of Russian leader, and it was all hunky-dory up until the point he invades Ukraine. And now you're essentially trying to justify it by the back door that he's let you down, Vladimir Putin.
Will you please stop reiterating the Western party line and listen to what I'm saying? There's not a word of justification. There's no anti-West.
But you keep saying that, and then you keep making a justification. It was because of NATO, or it was because of Afghanistan, or it was because of Libya.
Oh, it's not a justification. Listen to the words, okay? There is nothing to justify the Russian invasion of Ukraine. There is nothing to justify the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Understand?
Yep.
But we can ask, why is the global South collapsing in ridicule when it hears the kinds of things that you're talking about? Good reasons. And we should...
What do you mean? When you say the global, you've used the phrase a couple of times. Explain what you mean by the global South.
India, Indonesia, South Africa, Brazil, Colombia. Do you want me to list them?
They're not lining up with Vladimir Putin, though, are they?
No, they're not lining up with Vladimir Putin. That's your reiteration of the Western party line. They're taking a neutral position. What they're saying is they regard this as a proxy war between Russia and the United States over Ukrainian bodies. They're saying, we don't want to take part in it. That's not pro-Putin. That's the Western party line. We should be able to escape the Western propaganda bubble and simply look at the facts.